Hi guys, thanks for joining me today. I'm Marilyn and my channel is Making with Marilyn. Now I recently got a new tumbler press and the only thing I've used it for so far is a 20-ounce skinny tumbler. So on today's video, I'm going to show you how I used it to make this 30-ounce tumbler as well as this sippy cup. Now the weird thing about this though, when I was cool fitting it, so before I heated it up, even on the tightest setting, I could really move this around in there. So I thought I was going to have to use a hack and wrap this silicone sheet around my mug or around the cup. And then I'd put it in there, it'd add some bulk, and I thought that would make better contact. But when I tried to close this, it wouldn't close. All of a sudden it was too tight. So the only thing I can think of is either the wrap expanded, the tumbler expanded, or a little bit of both. So if you're interested in seeing how I use this press to make my 2 new cups, then keep watching the video. On today's video, I'm going to use this tumbler press that I recently got from Alibaba, and I've already done one video where I pressed this 20-ounce tumbler. It came out beautiful. So now what I want to do is try to do one of these big 30-ounce tumblers and then one of these really small sippy cups. I want to see if this has the flexibility to do all 3 sizes without having to order the attachments that come with it meant for those sizes. So let's go ahead and we're going to wrap the 30-ounce tumbler. Now I'm usually not into floral and this looks pretty muted. I thought on the computer it was beautiful. You know, when you add heat to sublimation paper and sublimation ink, it really gets vibrant. So hopefully this will turn out really pretty. Now here's my 30-ounce tumbler. I ordered these on Amazon. I'll put a link to them. I've already cleaned it with alcohol. I just sprayed alcohol on a paper towel, wiped it down, and let it dry really well. Then the other design that I'm going to do, it's a Power Cat sippy cup. One of my best friends is a huge K-State Wildcat fan. She has a little grandson, so I'm going to make him this sippy cup and I'll make her a matching 20-ounce tumbler. Now the wrapping, temperature, and time techniques I'm adapting from a YouTuber named Industrial Fringe. He has put so much time and energy into this. He does an excellent job of explaining it, and I have really found that his process is super. So that's what I'm going to use. Okay, so I have my tumbler flat on the table, and then I'm going to put the bottom edge of my design flat on the table also. Now I have a little bit of white at the bottom because this cup angles up, so that white's not going to show. So I get it placed straight. Then once I have it straight, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over and start taping. So I'm using this thicker tape. It's 20 millimeters thick. And I found that this is really nice. Again, this is something that Industrial Fringe recommended. So I'm going to tape it to the side that's on top. And then just really make sure I'm pulling tight on the paper and the tape. And then press that first piece down. Then what I'll do is go ahead and start going up and down the cup. Again, making sure that I'm, whoops. Well, let's get a new piece of tape. Okay, so I'm going to make sure that this is really tight, adhering it to the top side, pulling snugly, and then taping it down. Okay, so the first part's done. Now I'm going to go ahead and start at the top seam. I'm going to do 2 layers of tape. Now the first one is just going to be pretty much even with the top of the cup. And once again, this was a technique that I learned from Industrial French. So I have that with the top, and then I'm pulling not really tightly, just snug. I mean, I'm not letting it be loose. And then I want it to end about even with the top of the cup. Okay, you can see there's really no gaps between the paper and the top of the cup. That's a good thing. And then I'll do one more layer of tape. This time, I'm going to go up above the cup. So it might be about half on, half off. And I'm going to pull really tightly and snugly so that it pulls that in toward the cup. Then I'll just go around, kind of bend my paper over, bend my tape over. Once I feel comfortable with it, I'll go ahead and push down and adhere it to the inside of my cup. Now, if I see any puckers or anything, I really want to work those out with my finger before I press this. So I'm going to go around and really rub into the top of the cup, over the top of the cup. Then I feel like I didn't get enough tape adhered to the inside of the cup, just right here. So I'll add one more piece. Now I'm going to do the exact same thing at the bottom. Now the other thing that I want to do is I want to push down where this seam is on both sides and really make good contact with the tumbler. Okay, I think that looks good. Now let's go ahead and wrap the sippy cup. All right, so I'm going to use the same process. Now the concern with this is it's really narrow. So you can see on the setting I've already put this on for the 30 ounce, this just slides out. And even when I have this all the way as tight as it goes, there's not a lot of pressure against this. So I'm going to try a hack for that. Now the power button's right here, so you just push that. And then the time and temp defaults to what you had it on last. Now my tumbler press started screaming at me because I had this forward. As it's heating up, you're supposed to have that back. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to put this in there, heat it for 50 seconds, rotate it 180 degrees, 50 more seconds, then rotate it 90 degrees for 20, then another 180 for 20. What that does is it gets every side of the tumbler so that it's straight up, and I think it makes a nice even sublimation. Then I'm also going to put it in this butcher paper. If you're doing sublimation, you might as well invest in some butcher paper because you are going to use it a lot. Now I just got mine off of Amazon and I'll put a link to it below. So I'm going to start by having the seam either toward the front or the back. Okay, I have my tumbler in here, so I'm just going to slide it in. Make sure it's within the boundaries of the sides of this, and then close it up. As soon as I do on my press, it starts counting down, and you might notice the temperature drops a lot. It'll go right back up. Now my first 50 seconds are up, so I'm going to rotate my tumbler 180 degrees. So what was on top is now on the bottom, and then 50 more seconds. Okay, so now I'm just going to rotate it 90 degrees, which is a quarter of a turn. I'll do it 20 seconds. Now this time, I just have to watch the time and stop it at 30. I didn't want to take the time to reset it. Now I'm on my last 20 seconds, so I'll take it out and I'll put it right over here on this cooling rack. So I'm going to go ahead and adjust the little knobs on the back and make this as small as possible. Now I've adjusted it so that this will be as tight as it can be, but it's still too big for this sippy cup. So here's what I'm going to do. First of all, I'm going to go ahead and have my butcher paper around it. That just protects anything outside of the cup. So it protects your heat press, or in my case, I'm going to wrap it with this little piece of silicone. Now I got a huge silicone mat, and I just cut this down and I use it for certain things. So I have my sippy cup inside there, and then I'm just going to put this silicone mat around it. Now I will tell you, when you use a silicone mat, your heat doesn't transfer as fast. So this time I'll still do the first two at 50 seconds, and then the last two presses I'm going to go ahead and do 50 seconds. Now this is the first time I've done this, so I might overheat it. I just don't know, but we're going to find out together. All right, let's try this out. Okay, wait a minute. That silicone mat makes it too big. Let's go ahead and try it without it. Oh, okay, actually I think that's tight enough. All right, we're down to 30, so let's go ahead and open this up. Okay, so this is still very, very hot, but the large tumbler's ready to go ahead and remove the paper and the tape. Now I can see that still has some paper on it that's stuck to the cup. So I'll go ahead and remove that just with alcohol and a paper towel. You can see the paper right there, but that comes off. Okay, so I was in the middle of filming and I don't know where it cut off, but fortunately I noticed it before I unpeeled this. So here's my big 30-ounce tumbler. Look at that. That is so cute. And look how crisp that is. All right, let's see how this turns out. Oh, that is cute. Now, when I did my design, I made it where there'd be a white stripe on each side. This one's a little wider than this one. That's just a little design flaw. And then I had black around the bottom and black around the top. Okay, so you can see the bottom seam is good. The colors are good. It's really crisp and clear. Now, you can see in the background it says Wildcats very vaguely or very faintly, and it's supposed to be that way. But that's super cute. She is going to love that. Now, I'm really happy to see that I can use this tumbler press with the wrap that came with it for pretty much anything I would make. I did buy the model that is expandable, so I could buy much smaller wraps, but I honestly think that for everything I do, the wrap that came with it will be perfect. Thanks so much for joining me. Until my next video, bye-bye. Now, I made the intro video this morning very early before work, and I thought about this all day. I want to show you what I was talking about in my intro. So here's the sippy cup. It's really small around, and I have the heat press on the smallest setting, or the tightest setting. You can see that I can easily pull this in and out. It is not tight. And then I'm not sure if you can see the gap at the top, but there is a large gap above the cup. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and pull that out. Super easy to do. Here I'm doing it with paper, and I can still pull it out. So I'm going to go ahead and turn on the heat press, and let's see what happens. Okay, we're up to 385, so let me go ahead and change this, or turn this so you can see it from the side again. Now, since this has already been sublimated, I'm not going to leave it in there very long. I don't want to ruin it, but this has really bothered me all day. So we're going to figure this out. Okay, I pulled as hard as I could. Let me try to push from the other side. Oops. Now, there was no budging this cup at all. And fortunately, I don't see any of the sublimation ink that's bled back onto the paper, and it doesn't look like it's lightened up. But I'm going to close it one more time because I want to see if there's still a gap at the top. So there was still definitely that gap at the top, which means you do need to rotate this, but it will work. So for now, there's really no reason to spend any more money on another attachment. So I guess it's exactly what I thought. Either the cup is expanding, the press wrap is expanding, maybe a little bit of both, but in any event, I'm pretty happy about it.